Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video here on FPL Now, your #1 source for tips, tricks, and everything you need to know for Fantasy Premier League football. Today we're going to be going over my team selection for Game Week 16, so if you're excited for the video, as always, make sure to drop a like down below. Let's try and hit 35 likes. Leave a comment with what your team's looking like going into the Game Week 16 deadline. Subscribe if you're brand new. With all of that out of the way, let's get into the video. So, starting things off, as always, with my team selection videos, we take a look at the previous game week score before going into my team for the next game week, and it was not a very good game week to say the least. 43 points, technically 39 because I did take a hit to bring in Cancelo. I was just expecting big things against Watford and it just didn't happen, but yeah, as you can see, I had a really poor game week. Sanchez got me 3 points, which unfortunately was the second highest score out of my defenders, which was just crazy. But yeah, Sanchez got me 3. Trent got me 9. Again, just always relying on Trent. His back must be hurting from carrying my team so much. So I did double up on Chelsea defense. I wasn't really expecting anything too big against West Ham. I was more so just getting the double clean sheet for like the future game weeks, because they've got like Leeds next, then it's like Wolves and Everton and stuff. So I was hoping to get a few clean sheets down the line, but I didn't think it would go that badly. I mean, what a game, 3-2. That last goal was just ridiculous. But yeah, Rudiger only got 1 point. James got 0, picking up a yellow card. I've bought in James, and so far he's got no points. I brought him in the week before, he didn't play, and then obviously the weekend that's just gone, he played but got 0, so not going too well. The FPL effect is definitely working its wonders with me this year. Every single player I seem to bring in is just going downhill. Same with Cancelo. I brought him in, absolutely done nothing for me. Really unfortunate. Livramento, I mean, that game was just so unfortunate. He was on for an 8-pointer until like the 98th minute, when Mopai decided to score and ruin my game week. I mean, those 6 points would have been very nice. It would have given me like 49 instead of 43, which again would have still been a red arrow most likely, but it would have been less of a red arrow. But yeah, it was just really unfortunate. Not a very good game week for the back line at all. Coming in with the midfield, I mean, Mbeumo finally got a return. I can't believe it. I mean, the heavens opened up, light shone down onto this man, and he got an assist. Can't believe it. Could not believe the 3 points from that assist for him. So he came out with 5 points. Rafinha getting an assist as well and picking up a bonus, but did get a yellow card, so he was on 5 as well. So yeah, 2 returns there out of those 2 players. Not the worst thing in the world, but we move on. Salah getting an assist in literally the last minutes of the game. Again, just still getting attacking returns every single week. And then Jota was so infuriating to watch. He missed so many chances. And where he didn't score, when like he didn't really have an open goal, but he had like 2 Wolves defenders on the line. Cody took a bullet to the crown jewels. I mean, prop to that man. Like, that looked like it bloody hurt, and he went down in stages. But yeah, Jota missing that was, I mean, he could have squared it to Mane if he really wanted to. I mean, I'm glad he shot, but I was expecting it to go in when I was watching that game. But unfortunately, just the 3 points from Jota. And then Vardy didn't start the game, which I wasn't expecting him to, because he played midweek and then at the weekend. And obviously with Antonio getting the 5 points, I was like, yes, Vardy's not starting. I beg he doesn't come on, and I get 5 points from Antonio. It gets me 48 points overall. Not too bad. No, Vardy decided to come on the 66th minute, bagged a nice 1 point for me. So yeah, the amount of 1s and 2s I got this game week was just agonizingly painful, but it is what it is. Everybody has a bad week every now and again. I got a big fat red arrow. I went from like 540k to like 612k, so not great at all. Sitting at 905 points. But I'm hoping for a really good game week coming up. So let's take a look at my game week 16 team. So in goal we have Sanchez, who is at home to Tottenham. Now unfortunately, I don't know what's really happening with that game at the moment, because apparently 6 first team players have tested positive for COVID, which obviously is very bad. Now we don't know who those players are, but that's kind of the story that's circulating right now. So if you do have a Tottenham player, the likes of Son, Reguilon, Emerson, Kane, anyone like that, they may have COVID. We don't know what the kind of linguistics of it is right now, but yeah, apparently 6 first team players have tested for COVID. I don't think that's enough to really postpone the game, because Tottenham already have a postponed game because of the snow against Burnley last weekend, or the last week. So I really hope that it doesn't get postponed, because I have 2 Brighton keepers. I've got Sanchez and Steele, so that would not be a good start to the game week. I don't think it will get postponed, because they have enough players in the club to be able to play the game. Like 6 players having COVID, like, it's not great for Tottenham, but it shouldn't get postponed for that. Like, that shouldn't be a thing, but we'll have to wait and see for more. Like, maybe more players get tested positive and then it does get called off. But they've got enough players in the club to be able to field 6 more players. And I'm hoping the game does go ahead, because if, like, some of the good players have it and they obviously can't play, that means that it's likely, I guess, to get a clean sheet for Steele, for Sanchez. We'll have to see what happens there. But, you know, hopefully the game goes ahead anyway, because, again, it's just going to hurt a lot of players. FPL managers do have the Brighton players that do have your Tottenham players as well, because a lot of people are bringing Sonny in this week, which I guess hold off on because you don't know if he has COVID or not. Anyway, the back line is Trent, Rudiger, James, and Cancelo. Looking quite nice, to be fair. I mean, Trent at home to Villa, hopefully getting a clean sheet there, even though Villa are playing very, very well. We've got Rudiger and James still got that double up against Leeds at home. I mean, Leeds are technically struggling to score. I mean, I know they just scored 2. Bamford is back. A little bit unfortunate to have Bamford back for this game, but, you know, he has been out for a while, so props to him. He deserves to be back, and I'm a big fan of Bamford. Just hope he doesn't score at the weekend. But yeah, Rudiger and James, both at home to Leeds. Hopefully, I mean, the thing is with that, it's really, really risky doubling up, because if you get a clean sheet, you know, it's a nice 8 points right there. 10 technically. No, 12 technically. And then with any like bonus or attacking returns is added on. But if they don't get a clean sheet, it's like 4 points, maybe 2 points if they don't. So it is very much a risky play. But yeah, I mean, the Chelsea fixtures coming up aren't terrible. Like I say, they have Leeds, Everton, Wolves, Villa, Brighton, which are some nice fixtures. You'd expect a few clean sheets there. So I'll probably be holding on to them for the foreseeable future, but we'll see what happens. Again, we do have Champions League this week. We do have Europa League, all that stuff. But again, with teams like Man City, like Liverpool, that have already qualified, you're expecting quite I don't know, just I guess a second kind of team to play, because they don't need to risk any of their main teams, especially with how close this Premier League is this season. Like, they need all their best players fit and ready for the weekend games. But yeah, Rudiger and James at the back, and then we've got Cancelo as well at Wolves. Now, he did not travel with Man City, so Cancelo has had a rest this week, so most likely starting at the weekend, which is very nice to hear. Some of the players that didn't travel, Rodri didn't travel, Bernardo Silva didn't travel, so yeah, Jesus actually is injured. He didn't travel, but yeah, he's injured. But yeah, that's my back line. Coming in at midfield, we have Mbeumo at home to Watford. Bernardo, I've already made my transfer. Bernardo has come in at home to Wolves, and I've made my transfer. I'll get on to why I've already done it. I never say make a transfer at the start of the week, especially with Champions League and stuff at like midweek. Like, it's always a bad idea, but I will go over why I made my transfer, like I say, later on in the video. And then Salah, captain at home to Villa, and then Jota at home to Villa as well. I don't know if like Jota might lose his place for like Origi. I don't think he will. I think I'm just kind of overthinking it, but you know, Jota had a really, really bad game, and then Origi came on and, you know, won them the game. So would that maybe get him a start? Who knows? But yeah, we'll have to see what happens there. Maybe Origi starts midweek, and yeah, that means that Jota hopefully will start. If Jota starts midweek, that might be a little bit worrying for the weekend. We'll see what happens. But then Mbeumo at home to Watford, again hoping for a back-to-back returns from him to try and reward me for bringing him in as long as I did a go. But yeah, that's the midfield. And then up front we have Antonio away at Burnley, and then we have Vardy at home to Newcastle. So on paper, this team looks quite nice this week. You know, the only kind of worry that I have is Sanchez. You know, I'm not really worried about any of these players not playing. You know, Vardy had a nice rest, really. Bernardo's not traveling. Cancelo's not traveling. I can't really see James and Rudiger playing midweek because they're already qualified. Again, can't really see Salah playing. Jota, probably not Trent. Like, I can expect a B team coming out. But the bench is Livramento away at Arsenal, Sissoko away at Brentford, and then obviously it doesn't matter about my last sub because he doesn't play anyway. But yeah, that is my team going into game week 16. Again, quite happy with it, but we'll see what happens. Let's move on to the transfers that I'm going to be making over the next few weeks. So as you can see, I have already made a transfer. I've got 0.8 mil in the bank. Like I say, 0 free transfers. I brought Bernardo in for Rafinha this week. Rafinha having some quite terrible fixtures coming up. Again, it hurt to part ways with him, but at the moment in time, I think Bernardo Silva is just in the form of his life. He's having the best season. He didn't travel with City, so he's definitely going to start the weekend. I just think with the form that he's in and the fact that he's pretty much guaranteed to play the weekend, I thought it was an okay fixture to make. Again, the reason I made this fixture so early on is because I'm hoping that a lot of the big teams like your Liverpool, Chelsea, City aren't going to be playing a lot of their good players because they have already qualified. They've already won the group. There's no need for them to play these best players because it's just a risk factor. So yeah, not expecting anything like that. Antonio, I mean, he usually doesn't play midweek in Europa, but we'll see what happens. And then obviously I've got the likes of Mbeumo, who should play anyway. Vardy should play this weekend. So yeah, that's all okay. So what is my transfer plans looking like? Well, I've got two things that I can either do. So next week, I'm going to be getting rid of Vardy. Vardy does have Tottenham next week. Again, that game might not even go ahead if this COVID outbreak is severe, so I'll be getting rid of him anyway, but keep it in for Newcastle at home. And then obviously after that, he has Everton, which is a nice fixture, but then he has City, Liverpool, Norwich, Burnley, then Brighton, then Liverpool, West Ham. Like, you know, the Leicester fixtures aren't really that good going into the future. Like, there's better fixtures to tackle. So I'm going to be getting rid of Vardy, which obviously gives me 11.4 mil. And I'm thinking of bringing in Watkins. I think he's a decent little option. I think he's a little shout. I think he's going under the radar a lot. Obviously, I'm not bringing him in this week because he's got Liverpool away. But then after that, Gameweek 17, Norwich, then Burnley. Chelsea's a tough one. But then he has Leeds, Brentford, United again, a tough one. Then he has Everton, Leeds, Newcastle, Watford, Brighton, Southampton. You know, under Steven Gerrard, Aston Villa are playing a lot better football, and his returns have actually been okay. You know, he didn't return against Leicester, but scored against City. Didn't return against Crystal Palace, scored against Brighton. He's kind of getting a return every other game, which isn't that bad for a striker, especially if they're only 7.5 mil, especially when you've got a striker like Antonio, who has only returned once in like the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games, and that's because of a lucky assist that he got. Like, he didn't mean for that to, like, when he passed that ball, it wasn't like, oh yeah, he's going to shoot it, it's going to go in. It was just one of those assists where, you know, the attacker does, well, the goal scorer does like all the work, and the assister just, you know, passed it to him. So anyway, yeah, Watkins in there for Vardy, which again gives me a big chunk of money to spend, 3.9. And then the week after, I've got 1 or 2 things that I'm going to do. Now, the Christmas period is coming up, so there's going to be a lot of benching. So I kind of want a strong bench for that period. And I think if I do keep Locadia, it's not going to be great. Again, I took a hit to bring him in Cancelo because I wanted Cancelo in over this next period of really good fixtures. But again, I don't really want a player on my bench who's just not going to be starting or anything, because the likes of Antonio is probably going to get benched, like Cancelo is probably going to get benched, Bernardo Silva is probably going to get benched. All these players are going to get benched eventually at some point, because some teams have like 3 fixtures in like a week or something. Is crazy. So there will be benching, so I want a strong bench to be able to kind of combat that. So what I could do, so I could take out Locadia the week after and bring in either Dennis or King. Let's just say Dennis for the time being, which gives me 2.7 mil. Like, I think King is only 5.7, so it's only a 0.1 difference, but I'm pretty sure Dennis will overprice him anyway, which obviously gives me 2.7, and then it allows me to do something with my midfield, and it gives me like a pretty strong bench as well of Livramento, Sissoko, and Dennis, if I need one of them to come on. But then I still need to get rid of Mbeumo, so the week after that, I would get rid of Mbeumo. I'd have 8.2 mil to bring in somebody. Now, I haven't really thought about who I would bring in at the moment, but with midfielders, like, there's quite a decent option. Like, I could bring in Mount if I really wanted to, triple up on Chelsea, but with their fixtures, it's not going too well. I really want to bring in like a United player, but again, like, there's not really any decent United players that I kind of want to bring in at the moment, because Rashford hasn't really proven himself, Sancho hasn't really proven himself. I don't have enough funds for Bruno Fernandes, and then the other options are like Fred, McTominay, Greenwood, which just aren't really getting a look in at the moment. So I haven't really decided on who this other player would be, but it'd be like 8.2 mil in the bank to do something with them. Again, I could bring in Foden or someone and just double up, well, triple up on City, but again, that's just such a benching headache. I don't think it's the best idea. But yeah, I'd have to think about that. Again, that's not for a couple weeks yet. The other thing that I could do is, again, get rid of Vardy for Watkins, which I'm definitely doing next week. I've convinced myself. And then instead of bringing in Locadia, I have 3.9 mil, and even though I've just said he hasn't proven himself, I could bring in Rashford, which I have just enough money to do. And I don't really think that Watkins and Rashford are going to have a price rise over the next couple of weeks unless one of them just pops off at the weekend. So I should be able to afford this, which is another reason I brought Bernardo Silva in as early as I did, because I think he's going to have another price rise to 7.6, and if he does, then I wouldn't have been able to. I would have been priced out of Rashford by 0.1. So if I do want to go this route, I would have had to have made that Bernardo Silva transfer as early as I did, which is why I did it. But that is another option where I'd have 4 at the back, and then I'd have a really, really nice strong midfield, and then obviously Watkins, Antonio up front. The only problem with this one is that obviously the bench isn't as strong, and I kind of want it to be a little bit more stronger over the Christmas period. So yeah, kind of thinking of what I should do. I think the other option is safer, bringing in Dennis and then bringing in another midfielder, because again, I have a stronger bench, and Dennis is a good player as well. You know, he is getting a few returns here and there, so I think that's the better option. I just have to think of a midfielder to bring in for about 8.1 or whatever. Again, I could bring Rafinha back in if I really wanted to, and then I'd have a little bit more money in the bank, but we'll see what happens anyway. But that's gonna be everything for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, drop a like down below, leave a comment with the team you're going into Game Week 16 with. Subscribe if you're brand new. That's everything from me. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and until next time, peace.